What's up, ladies and gentlemen? It's your boy, the one and only King Cow 516, live in the mix, live in the wreck. Once again, this is the Swish Flame Podcast. Remember to check us out at www.swishflames.com. Hit us up at Twitter at SwishFlames, and if you feel so inclined, donate to the Cashapp, $ King Cow 516. Anyhow, what we're going to get into right now is this whole Kawhi Leonard situation of what Kawhi Leonard might be doing this free agency. As we all know, Kawhi is going to be a free agent. And I was listening recently, to Stephen A. Smith, and I was just taken back that Stephen A. Smith has been really pushing the Clippers to come off of Kawhi Leonard. And I find that hard to believe that somebody would suggest come off of a top 5 player in the league. Make no mistake about it, Kawhi Leonard is a top 5 player in the NBA. And Kawhi Leonard has to be looking at the Clippers organization, realizing that they underachieved last year. Yes, 100%. But this year, as he got injured in the Utah Jazz series, they were still able to overcome and get to the Western Conference Finals, somewhere they have never been. And they still took the Phoenix Suns to 6 games. So if I'm Kawhi Leonard, I'm looking at that and say, we got something here we could build upon. Because if I was 100% healthy, chances are we would possibly be in the championship game fighting for a title and possibly have a chance to win the championship. So if I'm Kawhi Leonard, I would have to be feeling good about that. So the fact that Stephen A. Smith is advising the Clippers to get rid of Kawhi Leonard, that makes no sense. If I'm the Clippers, if I'm Steve Ballmer, the owner of the Clippers, I'm doing whatever it takes to retain Kawhi Leonard. And they're going to offer Kawhi Leonard the max deal that he can get. They're going to basically go to Kawhi Leonard and say, what do you want to do? We'll do whatever you want. And that's the way it should be, because the reality is when you have a top 5 player in the league, you have to take that in consideration. That is very, 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 very helpful, and it rises the percentage of you possibly winning a championship. It doesn't guarantee it, but once you have a top 5 player, and you can put Kawhi Leonard any number you want in the top 5, he's top 5. You can put him 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I don't care. He's in the top 5. And that's going to increase your chances of winning an NBA championship. So you just don't get rid of those people for the sake of getting rid of. You know what I mean? But we do know Kawhi will become a free agent. And there's been a bunch of rumors we've heard recently popped up of the Miami Heat, the Dallas Mavericks going to chase Kawhi. And if Kawhi is willing to listen to other teams, hey, if you have the cap space, if you have the talent to possibly make something happen, of course you're going to want that. So I think a big indication if Kawhi is possibly considering leaving is going to be if he goes and has meetings with other teams. And I've also seen in the past some players who know they're going to re-sign still take meetings with other teams just to put pressure on their current team. I don't know if Kawhi is going to do all of that. But when free agency happens, if we see Kawhi Leonard take meetings with other teams, then I will be more of a believer of he might possibly choose to leave. Potentially. But for me, all indications would be Kawhi stays. Remember, a couple of seasons ago when he did the move to the Clippers, it was all about being close to home. And so he's close to home. And the main thing will be, does he still enjoy being close to home? Sometimes you might get around people you're familiar with, and then you might realize that, hey, maybe this is not what you want, because now everybody has access to you all the time. I don't know about his private life and how that situation is going. I'm just throwing out the only reason I can really think Kawhi might leave, because it can't just be, oh, you don't think you have a chance to win a championship, because I just explained that the Clippers made it so close, so they obviously have potential to possibly win a championship. They are definitely next season, as we go into next season, they're definitely going to be one of the favorites. You know what I mean? So Miami to me is intriguing, and also have seen some reports that New York Knicks, they got a boatload of cash, so I guarantee the Knicks at least going to probe if he's willing to talk to other teams, because the Knicks are dying to have a superstar. You know what I mean? Of those teams that I think have a legitimate shot if Kawhi is going to entertain possibly going to some other team, I would have to say definitely 100%. The Miami Heat would be the team I would recommend for him, because they would have shooting around him. I don't think Kawhi is the best closer per se, but for him to align himself with Jimmy Buckets, Jimmy Butler doesn't dominate the game as far as taking all the shots. He kind of just lets the game come to him, and Jimmy's one of those stars that he's a leader on the court, but he doesn't force the issue. But one thing about Jimmy Butler, he's a certified closer. So I can see Kawhi, if he went to Miami, you have Jimmy Butler that can close the game, take some of that pressure of you closing games out. He's a lot more clutch than Paul George is, although, Paul George is the all-around better player, you know what I mean? But Jimmy Butler definitely, has that it factor that at times, as good as Paul George's skill set is, sometimes with the pressure and the brightest of lights, he doesn't always live up to, the moment, you know what I mean? But as far as skill-wise, we know Paul George is a certified stud. But if I'm personally Kawhi Leonard, like I said, I'm staying put. They're building a great team around me. The owner is investing so much money. He's working on building an arena just for the Clippers. So I think the management there is very stable right now. And they're going to be willing to make moves and do whatever it takes to win a championship. And Steve Ballmer wants to win one bad. He does. So my expectation once again is Kawhi Leonard will stay. But man, can you imagine the drama if Kawhi ends up deciding to leave after, oh my goodness, if you're a Clipper fan, that is going to be such a catastrophe. If Kawhi were to leave, you know what I mean? Just think about it. He forced them to get Paul George and they traded all their assets, and then he would leave them high and dry like that. Oh man, that will be terrible and a bad look for the Clippers. That's why, by all means, the Clippers are going to do whatever it takes to make sure Kawhi comes back. And that's what I'm expecting. With that said, make sure, once again, you just check us out at www.swishflames.com. Make sure you add us, hit us up at Twitter at swishflames. You know what I'm saying? Let me know what you think in the comment section about Kawhi Leonard. Do you think he's going to go, or do you think he's going to stay? And with that said, we are out. See you next time.